Welcome to my new video. This is PokeStrive, and today we're talking about Blissey. In this Blissey guide, I'll show you how to support your team to victory with this amazing Pokemon. So, get ready to learn some tips and tricks, and despite heavy nerfs, it was still a staple pick throughout the year, showing how incredibly strong it was before. Let's dive right in. Let's start with a basic overview of everything Blissey can do. I've Glide here to give you a quick rundown. Chansey and Blissey's passive is Natural Cure. Every several seconds, Chansey and Blissey cleanse themselves of any active debuffs and hindrances. This effect occurs even if they don't have anything to cleanse. Unlike most other Pokemon, Chansey and Blissey's boosted basic attacks are on a cooldown system indicated by the pink bar under the HP bar. When the bar is full, their next basic attack will be boosted, dealing increased damage and resetting the bar to 0. Chansey's first basic ability is Heal Pulse. Chansey sends out a restoring pulse of energy, continuously healing a small amount of health to a designated ally and herself for a short duration. Even if no ally targets are available, Chansey can still use this ability to heal herself. Her other basic ability is Pound. Chansey slaps down in a designated direction, dealing damage and moderately slowing all enemies in the area of effect for a short time. Once Chansey reaches level 4, she evolves into Blissey and forgets Heal Pulse to learn either Soft-Boiled or Safeguard. If Blissey learns Soft-Boiled, she shares a rejuvenating egg with an ally in range, restoring a burst of health initially, then restoring a smaller amount of health a few more times after the first. Blissey can hold a few eggs in reserve and use one after the other in succession, but will overwrite the previous egg's healing over time if it is shared with the same ally. If there are multiple allies in range, Soft-Boiled will target the ally with the lowest health by default. However, trainers can aim the ability to direct where the healing goes. If no allies are in range, she'll instead heal herself. When the ability upgrades at level 10, Blissey is able to carry an additional Soft-Boiled egg in reserve. If Blissey learns Safeguard, she can grant herself and a targeted ally a sizable shield for a few seconds. When the shield is granted, it purges any debuffs, marks, and hindrances her ally may be under, and prevents incoming hindrances to her and her ally until the shield is broken or expires. However, it is important to note that Safeguard's shield does not prevent additional debuffs and marks from being applied. Like with Soft-Boiled, Safeguard will also target the ally with the lowest health by default if multiple teammates are in range. If the trainer wishes to target someone else, they can manually aim the ability to shield them instead. If no one else is in range, she can still shield herself. Once Blissey reaches level 10, the move upgrades, granting even more shields than before. When Blissey levels up to 6, she forgets Pound and can decide to learn either Egg Bomb or Helping Hand. With Egg Bomb, Blissey tosses an explosive egg at a designated location. When the egg lands and explodes, it deals damage and briefly throws enemies caught in the blast zone outward. Like with Soft-Boiled, Blissey can hold a few Egg Bombs in reserve and use one after the other in succession. If Egg Bomb is learned after learning Soft-Boiled, both abilities will combine and share their charges and receive a significant decrease to their charge cooldowns. Once the ability is upgraded at level 12, Egg Bomb will also moderately slow enemies for a short time after they are thrown. Blissey can instead learn Helping Hand. When activated, Blissey makes her allies ecstatic to fight, greatly improving the basic attack speed of herself and any allies around her for a few seconds. Additionally, Blissey also increases the movement speed of herself and allies until the ability expires. While Blissey is under the effect of Helping Hand, all of her basic attacks will become boosted and then go on cooldown once the effect ends. At level 12, the move upgrades, also granting a boost to basic attack damage to those affected. At level 8, Blissey learns her Unite move Bliss Assistance. Blissey dashes with utmost haste to a friend in need, offering a nutritious egg, granting them a massive shield and a large boost to their attack and special attack for a significant duration. During this time, Blissey will also intercept a large percentage of any health damage received by the assisted ally as true damage, bypassing any shield she may have on her. While she is rushing to an ally's aid, any enemy she comes into contact with during her transit, as well as those around her rescue target, will be knocked up briefly and take massive damage. Enemies positioned close to and between Blissey's rescue target and Blissey will take double damage, but only be knocked up once. That was fantastic. Make sure to check out his Blissey Spotlight. It's super beginner-friendly with amazing editing. Link will be in the description. Now for an in-depth look, first we will do a complete breakdown of all of Blissey's moves and animation cancels or combos involved with them. And then after we will dive into Blissey movesets, builds, strategies, and positioning. First is the passive, Natural Cure. A lot of people get confused how this passive works. Think of it as a full heal. It's a cleanse every 6 seconds that cleanses all debuffs, all stuns, anything from Pikachu Electroweb to Absol Psycho Cut. You aren't completely invulnerable to debuffs the whole time, basically just once every 6 seconds for a millisecond. The timer for this is actually 1 second off, so it starts at 10.01, and then the next is at 9.55, 9.49, and so forth. Fun fact, I memorized every single timer that Natural Cure was up for in the game for Worlds in 2022, so I knew when to go aggressive on a timer, and you can soak up a Pikachu Electroweb any kind of stun for free and get it cleansed immediately if you do it on that 1 second timer. It's not as hard as you'd think to memorize, as every single minute is the same timer. For example, 9.55, 9.49 is the same at 8.55, 8.49. Every single minute is the same, etc. Now on to the starting moves. Heal Pulse. There's not much advanced to cover here on Heal Pulse. It's one of the most useless moves in the game, if not the most useless move. It heals you and your selected teammate a very small amount. Now just make sure you are in range when you use it. It's really easy to accidentally use this on only yourself. Trust me, I've done this multiple times. And this same mistake will go for a lot of your other abilities that are upgraded from this move, which we will cover later. Pound. Now this move is extremely useful and very underutilized. Of course, it is your best secure early game, but don't be afraid to use this to slow your enemies. This can be extremely useful, and I always see Blissey's forget to slow enemies. Those would have been free kills if you just used your pound to slow them and do a lot of damage to them. Now the reason I say you can use your pound to slow instead of secure is your boosted auto attacks are another amazing secure early game. They do so much damage. So this is a great secondary secure when you don't have your pound up. You can even use it to combo with your pound to burst NDDs from a very high HP early game. It runs on a timer, which is the bar under your health bar. So every time that bar is full, your boosted auto will be up. In a fight, don't forget to use your boosted autos when enemies are near because again, they do a lot of damage. However, when it's just your normal auto attacks, I recommend not using them because they do so little damage. You should just focus on repositioning yourself or using your abilities. Now there are very rare occurrences you want to auto-attack enemies, but again, will be very rare. Now one animation cancel to note that is useful. You can cancel your boosted auto with your pound. This is a nice fake out for out-securing farm because it will confuse your opponents thinking that you're going to try to burst the farm, and it will actually be the optimal way to secure in very rare occurrences. When you hit level 4, you get the option to choose between Soft-Boiled or Safeguard to upgrade from Heal Pulse. Now Soft-Boiled. Most non-Blissey mains will never realize that just one egg from Soft-Boiled heals you 3 times. Keep this in mind in prolonged fights where multiple Pokemon are low health. You should heal one at a time to maximize healing over time. However, you should judge when someone is in danger of dying. So spamming all your egg healing at once in these situations is okay. It's also important to keep in mind your hyper carry, which we will get into later. In this meta, it's usually Zacian or Mewtwo X. Look at when they might want to go in. Prioritizing healing them to let them go in is extremely important and can win you the fight. Soft-Boiled will also give you a lot of cooldown animation cancels for your abilities, which we will cover later on. You can also throw this egg at a distance, which has been very useful throughout the 2 years of Pokémon Unite. It allows you to play very safe, and even sometimes steal objectives like Reggie's or Rayquaza if your jungler dies. Make sure to cancel your soft-boiled early game with a focus band to maximize your healing as well. The other option is Safeguard. This move is one of the most complicated moves to use in the game at the highest level. It also is very simple and effective in lower and middle level play. The key things to note is it's one of the only abilities in the game that doesn't give you a shield but also cleanses stuns and prevents hindrances for a short duration. This is extremely useful into some of the most meta Pokemon, like Slowbro, Mr. Mime, or Zoroark. But it's important to note, It does not stop hindrances like Scald Slowbro or knockback hindrances like Heavy Slam Snorlax. The biggest mistake a lot of Blissies make is not being patient with this ability. For example, using this on yourself just to help score is never worth it, as it should only be used for hypercarries going in or saving your hypercarry from a stun or hindrance. Another mistake is canceling this ability right before the hindrance is about to hit you or your hypercarry. It will cancel the hindrance that hit, but any stuns that are currently in the air will not be canceled. So be very careful with your timing and understand when to use this ability at the highest level. It's also very important to note that it does the same damage as Soft-Boiled and Egg Bomb combo, meaning you can use it as an escape ability with Helping Hand or a faster combo. At level 6, you get the option to upgrade from Pound to either Helping Hand or Egg Bomb. Now, the easiest way to understand Egg Bomb is it's like a budget Pokémon Unite move. You can throw it at a distance for range damage, and it also has a knockback for displacing enemies. The cooldown is very low, which means you can use this to spam Disrupt and poke at a distance, or you can use this as a zoning tool for securing objectives. Once you learn how to combo this with Soft-Boiled, you can have a very high APM and provide a lot of value by throwing multiple eggs at a distance while keeping your team alive. When using this, you should always try to throw your egg behind the enemy to hit them into your team. This will maximize damage and CC output. Now, Helping Hand. This is the most versatile ability in the game. It does so many things that just understanding when to use it and when not to use it is probably one of the biggest differences between a good Blissey and a bad Blissey. When using this ability, you give all nearby teammates a massive attack speed boost and a minor movement speed boost. And for yourself, it turns your auto attacks into unlimited boosted autos until it ends. However, it will not reset your boosted bar after the duration ends, so keep that in mind. If you're not comfortable auto-attacking, you can just spam the move and focus on positioning and healing, but this ability can literally turn team fights with just how powerful the attack speed boost is. When using Helping Hand, you should always try to get at least one auto off to maximize value, but don't get greedy, just use it for utility if needed. A key mechanic to know is you can animation cancel Helping Hand into Soft-Boiled and vice versa. This can be used for clutch moments where your hypercarry goes in, and you need to give them the Helping Hand attack speed boost, and then immediately heal them. This will maximize the value of your kit. Finally, at level 8 you get your Unite move, Bliss Assistance. This is the ultimate hypercarry enable ability in the game. It has so much utility packed into one ability that just understanding all the uses will make you an amazing Blissey player. The first key thing to note is the shield provided is so massive, it can almost act as an additional life bar. This is extremely useful for hypercarries going in and taking more aggressive plays. The attack boost it provides is also massive, so always try to unite your hypercarry right before they engage. The Unite move also intercepts damage, which means you can use this to save an ally from dying or just mitigate a lot of incoming damage. However, be very careful with this because if you intercept too much damage, you can die very quickly. The Dash Knockup also provides a lot of utility as it can be used to disrupt enemy team fights, knock enemies off objectives, or just provide additional CC. When using this, always try to position yourself to hit as many enemies as possible with the dash, and if possible, aim to knock enemies into your team for additional follow-up. The biggest mistake a lot of Blissies make with this Unite is using it too early or too late. Always wait for the right moment when your hypercarry is about to engage, or when they are in danger of dying. Using it at the right time will maximize the value and turn fights in your favor. Now let's dive into movesets, builds, strategies, and positioning. Movesets and builds. 1. Soft-Boiled plus Helping Hand. This is the most common build and is amazing for enabling hypercarries. Use Helping Hand to give them the attack speed boost, and then spam Soft-Boiled to keep them alive. Held items. Buddy Barrier, Focus Band, Choice Specs. Battle items, X Speed or Eject Button. 2. Safeguard plus Helping Hand. This build is great for countering CC heavy comps. Use Safeguard to cleanse and protect your hypercarry, and then Helping Hand to boost their attack speed. Held items, Buddy Barrier, Focus Band, Muscle Band. Battle items, X Speed or Eject Button. 3. Soft-Boiled plus Egg Bomb. This build provides a lot of poke and disruption. Use Egg Bomb to poke and disrupt enemies from a distance and Soft-Boiled to keep your team healthy. Held items, Buddy Barrier, Focus Band, energy amplifier, battle items, X speed or eject button, strategies and positioning. Early game. Focus on securing farm with pound and boosted autos. Use heal pulse to sustain yourself and your lane partner. Play safe and prioritize farm over early skirmishes. Mid-game. Rotate with your team to objectives and use soft-boiled or safeguard to keep them healthy and safe. Use Helping Hand to boost your team's attack speed during skirmishes and team fights. Position yourself behind your front line and prioritize healing your hyper carry. Late game. Stick with your hyper carry and prioritize keeping them alive with soft-boiled or safeguard. Use your Unite move at crucial moments to turn team fights in your favor. Position yourself in the backline and focus on providing utility and healing. Tips and tricks. Communication. Communicate with your team and let them know when you have your Unite move ready. Coordinate with your hyper carry for engages and plays. Vision. Always keep an eye on the minimap and be aware of enemy positions. Position yourself to avoid getting caught out of position. Practice. Practice your animation cancels and ability combos to maximize your utility. Watch high-level Blissey players and learn from their gameplay and positioning. With these tips and strategies, you'll be on your way to mastering Blissey and supporting your team to victory. Remember, practice makes perfect, and the more you play, the better you'll get. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell icon. Good luck, trainers.